So my guest today is not only a friend, he is a DJ and producer, and he was once the lead singer and band member of the Soup Dragons and High Fidelity. It is Hifi Sean. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
FT. I thought it was featuring or featured, but it's not. It's FT. Obviously, that's what it stands for.
FT is the abbreviation for featuring. Somebody said to me, "Why did you call your album Financial Times?" And I'm like, "Really? You think I called it Financial Times?" But
they obviously don't know you that well. Then
I just kind of thought it was the most. It's kind of weird because when you take an abbreviation out of context, people don't get it sometimes.
Yeah.
So when I like, as I've been making the album, some people have said, like, "What's it called?" I'll say FT, and they just look at you blank, like, "What's that mean?" But I'm thinking now that people know the context of the album being a lot of featured artists that I love, it's pretty obvious what FT stands for.
But it's good to be a bit mysterious because you've got to have that curiosity factor of anything that you produce.
Yeah.
It gets people talking.
I think it also kind of gave the album a very direct concept because it was a 100% concept album, which I've kind of never done before. In the context of things, this is actually the 8th album I've made, and I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot because I've basically started again 3 times. You know, there was the Soup Dragons, and then I started again with the High Fidelity, and that stopped in 2001, and I haven't done anything for 15 years. I mean, not even Kate Bush can, you know, do that. Like, I haven't done anything for 15 years, and then I've got this album coming out, and I'm starting again. You know, at least Kate Bush puts it out as Kate Bush, but I'm putting it out as a different name.
So it's your first solo album?
Solo? God, it is well, yeah, I suppose it is a solo album.
Amazing artwork, and that is you, really, as well.
Yeah,
obviously headless you, but it is you.
I kind of wanted to do a cover that... I mean, the concept behind the cover was to do something that kind of like, you know, associated it with half the album is all my musical ideas and half the album is all the kind of like radiating waves that came from all the people involved on top of what I did. So it was, you know, it gave you the idea that it's kind of like, you know, it's a half and half kind of situation here. That's not actually my head, it's my body and soul that's involved in it. So
I like that.
Originally I was going to put 13 radiating waves, but it didn't work with the size of the cover.
Were you overthinking it a bit, Sean?
I was overthinking. I kind of thought, well, that's a good concept because somebody will work out, oh my God, there's 13 rings, so that must be the 13 artists. And when you play it backwards, you know, all that kind of stuff. But no, it's.
So was it originally 13 tracks? Was it more than that? Because obviously you have to whittle down the best tracks to go on the release.
To be honest, I must have wrote about 18 songs for this, but recorded wise, finished, there was about 15. I can't tell you what's happening about the other 2 because I'm keeping that up my sleeve.
Right.
You know, and another concept I had of the album was doing an album that got progressively darker, and you've heard the album.
Yeah,
and
it's
it does
amazing.
get progressively darker. It's kind of like Monday Morning Sunshine is the point where the sun sets and it goes off down and down, and that's real. I've always wanted to make an album like that, which was quite hard to do when you're involving other artists because they kind of don't know what everybody else is doing. So, and I think that's kind of must be quite exciting, you know, when I've sent this to people and, you know, people have been involved in it and they hear how it all fits into context because they've only worked on their track, and it does, you know, every track. The segue of the thing is put in a specific order. Not that anybody cares these days in the world of playlists. You know, people will just pick tracks they like. The vinyl's on a double vinyl, like a double vinyl album, and I was very specific about how each track, because that thing would, you play the end of side one and you turn it over. There's a lot of to say about that moment, that space when you turn the vinyl over and put the next track on.
It's a journey.
You know, yeah, it is a journey.
Yeah.
But I hate the X factor for overusing that word. But you know, this album to me is a bit of a journey because it was my journey working my way through all these ideas from, you know, 3 years ago. I just sat one day and thought there's something missing from my life, and from the age of 16, 17 I've been making, I actually made a cassette album when I was 14, so I've always made projects that are like a lot of songs.
It was this that was missing from your life.
That's yeah, totally. I mean, it's been the last 2.5 years have been the most fun I've had in a long time. But for me to actually sit here now 3 years later and think, wow, I've done it.